The Grand Council chamber of the Zeltarian Empire fell silent as Fleet Commander Kazara strode toward the central platform. Her purple skin glistened under the artificial lights as her 4 eyes darted nervously across the room filled with the Empire's highest officials. Nobody dared to breathe as she activated the holographic display. "What you are about to see defies everything we know about the species called humans," said Kazara, her voice trembling slightly. "We detected this vessel 3 cycles ago at the outer boundary of the Procyon system." The hologram flickered, showing a sleek warship unlike anything the Zeltarians had ever witnessed. Its hull appeared to absorb light rather than reflect it, giving it an almost ghostly appearance. In the vastness of space, High Chancellor Vila leaned forward, her antennae twitching with interest. "How can we be certain this is of human origin?" Kazara tapped the controls, bringing up a new image. "This is what we know of human warship design from our previous encounters: bulky, inefficient, primitive." The images contrasted dramatically. "We intercepted communications," she continued. "Human voices, their language patterns confirmed by our xenolinguists. This ship calls itself the Valiant Admiral Thora." Who had been silently observing from the back row, stood up, her ceremonial armor clanking. "That cannot be human," she declared. "It's too advanced. Their civilization is barely space-capable. They were using chemical propulsion a century ago. Yet here we are," said Kazara. The recording played, showing the human vessel effortlessly outmaneuvering a Zeltarian battlecruiser. The Empire's pride of the fleet looked clumsy by comparison. Lieutenant Samantha Kelly sat at the helm of the Valiant, her fingers dancing. Across the control interface, targeting solutions locked in, "Commander," she reported to her superior. A slight smile played across her lips as the alien vessel struggled to match their movements. Commander Olivia Winters nodded, her short blonde hair barely moving as she studied the tactical display. "Keep us just out of their weapons range, Lieutenant. We are not here to start a war, just to send a message." Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez's voice came through the comm system. "Commander, the new gravitic shields are holding steady, but I wouldn't recommend pushing them past 60% capacity. The technology is still experimental." "Understood," Chief Winters replied, her green eyes never leaving the display. "We're making quite an impression, I think." Back in the Zeltarian Council chamber, the recording ended, leaving the gathered officials in stunned silence. "They should not have this technology," Vila finally said. "They are decades, perhaps centuries ahead of where our intelligence suggested." "This changes everything," Admiral Thora scoffed. "The humans have always been resourceful, but this is impossible." "They must have had help from whom?" asked another counselor. "The Arcturians. The Pleiadian Confederation. None would dare violate the non-interference protocols." "Perhaps," said Kazara, "they did this on their own." The room erupted in dismissive chatter. Kazara raised her voice, silencing them. "Have we been underestimating them all along? Their planet is a death trap by our standards. Extreme temperature variations, lethal radiation levels, catastrophic weather patterns, toxic atmosphere. Yet they thrive there. What if these harsh conditions bred something more formidable than we anticipated?" On the Valiant communications officer, Lily Patel, monitored the alien transmissions. "They are definitely talking about us," she informed Commander Winters. "Their communications security is impressive, but their encryption can't hide the energy spike when they transmit." Tactical Officer Grace Bennett laughed softly. "Remember, when they first contacted us, they thought we were a primitive species barely worth trading with. Now look at them scrambling to understand what's happening." Commander Winters stood up, pacing the bridge of her advanced vessel. "This is exactly why Admiral Goyen sent us on this mission. The Zeltarians need to understand that humans are not to be trifled with. We may be newcomers to the galactic stage, but we are fast learners." Lieutenant Kelly pivoted in her chair. "They're scanning us again, Commander. Shall I activate the countermeasures?" "Not yet," replied Winters. "Let them see just enough to worry them." In the council chamber, Kazara presented her final assessment. "The human vessel has not taken aggressive action, despite having multiple opportunities to do so. They are showing restraint, which suggests this is a demonstration, not an act of war." "What do they want?" demanded. Vila Admiral Thora stepped forward to address the council. They want what every emerging power wants: recognition and respect. The trade agreements we forced upon them last cycle were insulting. They are showing us they will not be underestimated again. Vila considered this. We cannot appear weak before the other galactic powers. We cannot afford a conflict with a species we clearly do not understand, replied Thora. Especially one that can produce technology like this seemingly overnight. The Valiant maintained its position at the edge of the Zeltarian fleet. Its presence a silent statement of human ingenuity and determination. Commander, Winters received the transmission from Earth Command mission. Successful. Olivia time to come home. As the Valiant prepared to return to Earth, a strange energy signature appeared on their long-range sensors. Alert status yellow. Commander Winters ordered immediately. Something just dropped out of hyperspace. Lieutenant Kelly analyzed the readings. That signature doesn't match any known Zeltarian vessels. It's coming from the far side of the gas giant. The bridge crew tensed as the mysterious vessel approached, revealing itself to be unlike anything they had encountered before. Its design featured organic curves and crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with inner light. Lieutenant Commander Natalie Foster, the science officer, frowned at her console readings. Commander, that ship is generating energy patterns I can't even classify. It's like nothing in our database. On the main view screen, the alien ship came to a complete stop just beyond weapons range. Incoming transmission, said Lily Patel. Surprise evident in her voice. Put it through, ordered Winters, standing tall as the view screen shifted to show their new visitors. The alien that appeared had pale blue skin with iridescent patterns flowing across its surface like rivers of light. Its eyes were large and completely silver with no visible pupils. It spoke in a melodic voice that the ship's translator struggled to process. Humans of the Valiant, we are the Luminari. We have been watching your encounter with the Zeltarians with great interest. You have surprised us. Commander Winters maintained her composure. I am Commander Olivia Winters, representing Earth Alliance. May I ask the purpose of your approach? The Luminari representative tilted its head in what might have been curiosity. You were not expected to advance so quickly. The Zeltarians have underestimated you. We have not. Something in the alien's tone made Winters uneasy. Are you here to threaten us? The alien made a fluid gesture with its 4 slender arms. No. We are here to extend an invitation. Your species has demonstrated remarkable adaptability. We wish to learn more about you. Come to our coordinates, we will show you wonders. The transmission ended abruptly. Tactical analysis. Grace Bennett called out. Their weapon systems, if that's what those energy nodes are, remain inactive. But their shields are, unlike anything I've ever seen. Our sensors can't penetrate them. Winters turned to her senior staff, thoughts racing. What do we know about these Luminari? Foster shook her head. Nothing, Commander. They aren't in any database the Zeltarians shared with us during first contact. Should we follow them? Asked Kelly Maya. Rodriguez had joined them on the bridge, her engineering uniform stained with coolant fluid. I don't like it, Commander. Their technology is clearly far beyond even our new advancements. We don't know what they're capable of. Foster disagreed. This could be a first contact opportunity with a species far more advanced than the Zeltarians. Think of what we could learn. Winters considered both perspectives, then made her decision. We were sent to make an impression on the Zeltarians, not to engage with unknown species. Lieutenant Kelly set course for Earth. Tactical, keep weapons on standby. Science, continue monitoring that vessel. As the Valiant turned away from the mysterious Luminari, ship communication systems throughout the vessel suddenly activated. Every screen, every personal device lit up with the same message. The test continues. Humanity. The Zeltarians were merely the first evaluation. We will be watching. Lily Patel worked frantically at her station. They somehow bypassed all our security protocols, Commander. This shouldn't be possible. The Luminary vessel vanished from sensors as quickly as it had appeared, leaving the crew of the Valiant deeply unsettled back on Earth. 2 weeks later, Commander Winters stood before the Alliance Defense Council in the underground chambers of New Geneva. Her dress uniform crisp as she delivered her report. Admiral Catherine Hayes, the gray-haired head of fleet operations, leaned forward. So these Luminari implied they have been testing us. How long do you think they've been observing humanity? Unknown Admiral, replied Winters. But their technology suggests they could have been watching us for centuries without our knowledge. General. Victoria Stone, commander of ground forces, pounded her fist on the table. First, the Zeltarians treat us like children, and now these Luminari are testing us like lab rats. I say we accelerate the Phoenix program director Elaine Morgan of Alliance. Intelligence shook her head. The Phoenix program is still experimental, General. We don't know if the prototypes will even work. They worked on the Valiant, Stone countered. Partially corrected Winters. The systems were still at only 60% efficiency. When tested, Admiral Hayes silenced the debate with a raised hand. Commander Winters, your assessment of the Luminary threat level. Winters chose her words carefully. Their technology is beyond anything we've encountered. They could represent a serious threat. But they seemed more curious than hostile. Their approach suggests they value innovation and adaptability, qualities humans have in abundance. I believe they are watching to see how we handle ourselves in the galactic community. Hayes nodded, thoughtfully. The real question is what happens if we fail their test. 6 months after the Valiant incident, tensions between humans and Zeltarians had only grown worse. The trade negotiations had stalled completely. With both sides refusing to compromise, Commander Winters, now promoted to captain, found herself reassigned to the newly commissioned Alliance vessel Defiant, a sister ship to the Valiant, but with fully operational versions of the experimental systems. The ship hummed with energy as Captain Winters settled into the command chair on the bridge. The crew, a mix of veterans from the Valiant and new faces, worked efficiently around her. Lieutenant Kelly, now promoted to lieutenant commander, served as her first officer. Kelly approached with a datapad. We just received new orders from Admiral Hayes. Captain Winters reviewed the information, her expression growing serious. The Zeltarians have established a military outpost in the Tau Ceti system. Well within the neutral zone, we established. Kelly nodded. It's a clear provocation. The Admiral wants us to investigate, but avoid confrontation if possible. Evaluate their capabilities, but don't start a war, understood? Winters replied as the Defiant prepared to depart Earth orbit. Chief Engineer Rodriguez, now sporting a lieutenant's rank, reported from engineering. Captain, the new phase drive is fully operational. We can reach Tau Ceti in 36 hours. Good work. Lieutenant Winters acknowledged. Course set, Lieutenant Commander Kelly. Take us out. The Defiant slipped away from Earth, its advanced drive system leaving barely a ripple in space-time. The ship was nearly undetectable to conventional sensors, another technological leap that would surprise the Zeltarians. Meanwhile, in a hidden location deep within the gas clouds of the Orion Nebula, the Luminari Council convened, their crystalline bodies glowing with inner light as they communicated in frequencies beyond human perception. First observer, Ilara, addressed the gathering. The humans continue to advance at an unprecedented rate. Their adaptation to setbacks is remarkable. Their response to the Zeltarian provocation will be most illuminating. Second observer, Talon, disagreed. The test parameters are flawed. The humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable. They may destabilize the entire sector before they are ready for inclusion. The Grand Observer silenced the debate. The ancient compact is clear. Any species that achieves faster than light travel must be evaluated for inclusion or containment. The humans have demonstrated intelligence and resourcefulness, but now we must test their wisdom. Will they choose diplomacy or force when confronted by the Zeltarians? This will determine their path forward. In the Tau Ceti system, the Zeltarian outpost orbited the system's fourth planet, a massive installation, bristling with weapons. A fleet of warships patrolled nearby, their designs significantly more advanced than those the Valiant had encountered. Captain Winters studied the tactical display with concern. They were expecting us, she noted. The Zeltarians had upgraded their technology, attempting to match Earth's advancements. Commander Kelly frowned. Sensors indicate their weapon systems have been modified. They must have been studying our capabilities. Lieutenant Harper Wilson, the new tactical officer, added their shield configurations appear designed specifically to counter our weapons, Captain. I think they've been preparing for this confrontation. Winters considered the situation. We need more information before we proceed. Lieutenant Wilson, keep us at the edge of their sensor range. Lieutenant Commander Foster, begin passive scans of their installation. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. As the Defiant observed from a distance, it detected an incoming transmission. Captain, the signal is coming from the surface of Tau Ceti 4, reported Communications Officer Diane Carter. Not from the Zeltarian installation. Winters raised an eyebrow. There's someone else down there. Put it through. The view screen activated, showing a humanoid figure, with features that appeared almost human, except for the subtle ridges along the forehead and the silver tint to their skin. Greetings, Captain Winters of Earth. I am Kira, representative of the Tau Cetian native population. We have been monitoring your arrival and wish to establish contact. Winters exchanged surprised glances with Kelly. None of the Zeltarian reports mentioned sentient life in this system. Captain Olivia Winters of the Earth Alliance. Winters responded cautiously. I was unaware that Tau Ceti had indigenous intelligent life. The Zeltarians made no mention of your existence. Kira nodded, her expression grim. That is because they do not acknowledge us as sentient beings. Captain, they classified our world as uninhabited despite our civilization existing here for millennia. They established their military outpost against our protests, treating us as primitive life forms, unworthy of consideration. The implications were disturbing. Winters realized. We were not informed of this situation. The Tau Cetian continued. We have observed your conflict with the Zeltarians. We know they underestimated your species as they did ours. Perhaps we can help each other. Captain, how? Winters asked. We have been studying the Zeltarian installation. Since its construction, we can provide you with detailed scans of their defenses, information that would take you days to gather. And what would you want in return? Recognition. Kira replied simply. Acknowledgement of our sovereignty and our right to determine who may establish bases in our system. The Zeltarians refuse us this basic dignity. Perhaps humans will prove more enlightened. Winters felt the weight of the decision. The diplomatic implications were enormous. If Earth allied with the Tau Cetians, it would further antagonize the Zeltarians. Yet the injustice of the situation was clear. I need to consult with my superiors, Winters said. But you have my personal assurance that the Earth Alliance will acknowledge your civilization and your sovereign rights. For the first time, Kira smiled, revealing teeth that gleamed like mother of pearl. That Captain Winters is already more respect than the Zeltarians have shown us in a decade of occupation. The Zeltarian High Command received word of the human vessel in their territory within hours. Admiral Thora, now promoted to Fleet Marshal, after her warnings about human ingenuity had proven correct, stood before the War Council. They send a single ship, she noted. They are either overconfident or this vessel is even more advanced than the valiant High Chancellor. Vila scoffed at the suggestion. Our engineers have studied every scrap of data from the valiant encounter. We have adapted our technologies accordingly. This time we will not be surprised. Fleet Marshal. Thora was not convinced. The humans have had 6 months as well. Your Eminence. They would not send a lone vessel unless they believed it sufficient. Before the debate could continue, alarms blared throughout the command center. Vessel approaching from Sector 7, reported a junior officer. Her eyes widened in shock. It just appeared. Our sensors didn't detect it until it was within weapons range. How is that possible? Demanded Velon. The defiant Captain Winters received the data package from the Tau Cetians. True to their word, they had provided detailed scans of the Zeltarian outpost, revealing weaknesses in the defense. Grid Lieutenant Wilson analyzed the information they have. A blind spot in their sensor network here, she indicated on the tactical display. And their power distribution system isn't properly shielded. A targeted electromagnetic pulse could disable their weapons without harming their life support. Foster looked. Up from her science station, the Tau Cetian data appears accurate. Captain, their sensor network was designed to detect our previous generation of stealth systems, but they didn't account for the phase harmonics of our new drive. Winters nodded. That's our advantage. Lieutenant Carter, open a channel to the Zeltarian command. The main view screen flickered, showing the imposing figure of Fleet Marshal Thora. Her purple skin had darkened with age, the mark of status among Zeltarians. "Captain Winters," she said with forced calm, "your presence in Zeltarian territory is a violation of interstellar law. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Captain Winters stood tall, facing the alien commander. "I am Captain Olivia Winters of the Earth Alliance, vessel Defiant. We are here to investigate reports of Zeltarian military expansion into the neutral zone. This system is under Zeltarian protection," Thora replied, "according to whom Winters challenged the native Tau-Cedians have informed us they never consented to your presence here." Thora's expression flickered with surprise, quickly masked. "The primitive species on the fourth planet. They are hardly capable of space travel. Their opinion is irrelevant." "Is it?" Winters countered. "Earth Alliance recognizes the sovereignty of all sentient species regardless of their technological development. The Tau-Cetians have requested our assistance in removing uninvited forces from their system." "This is absurd," Thora hissed. "You cannot possibly." "Captain," interrupted. "Commander Kelly's Zeltarian vessels are moving to surround us." Winters didn't take her eyes off the screen. "Fleet Marshal, I suggest you order your ships to stand down. We are prepared to defend ourselves, and I don't think you want a demonstration of this vessel's capabilities," Thora sneered. "The Valiant may have surprised us, Captain, but we have studied your technology. We are prepared for your tricks. Are you?" Winters asked softly. "Lieutenant Wilson, deploy countermeasures, Alpha through Delta across." The Zeltarian fleet sensors suddenly went blind. Targeting systems failed and communications scrambled. The carefully prepared defenses proved useless against technologies they hadn't even imagined. "What have you done?" demanded Thora as reports of systems failures flooded in. "Nothing permanent," Captain Winters assured her. "Just a demonstration. Your vessels will regain functionality in approximately 10 minutes. No permanent damage has been done. We could have disabled your entire fleet. Marshal, remember that." The transmission ended, leaving the Zeltarian command in chaos. On the bridge of the Defiant, the crew maintained professional demeanor. Though Lieutenant Wilson couldn't suppress a smile, the look on her face, she whispered. Winters allowed herself a small smile in return. Before addressing the entire bridge crew, "The Zeltarians will be back online soon and they'll be angry. Prepare for possible hostile action." Commander Kelly approached, speaking quietly. "Captain, the Tau-Cedians have sent another transmission. They say the Luminary have arrived in the system." Winters felt a chill run down her spine. On screen, she ordered. The view screen activated, showing a massive Luminary vessel hovering above the Tau-Cedian homeworld. Its crystalline structure dwarfed both the Defiant and the Zeltarian fleet. "Combined, a transmission is broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Carter. "It appears to be directed at both us and the Zeltarians. Put it through," Winters ordered. Image of a Luminary appeared, but unlike the one they had encountered before, this being seemed older, more substantial somehow. "Humans of Earth, Zeltarians of Empire," the being began. "We have observed your confrontation with interest. The test continues." "Test?" Thora demanded, outrage overcoming her shock. "What test?" The Luminary continued unperturbed. "For millennia, the Luminary have watched over this sector of space, evaluating species as they achieve faster-than-light capabilities. Some, like the Zeltarians, chose the path of empire-building, resource acquisition, and military might. Others chose different paths, and humans asked Winters, 'What path do you believe we have chosen?' The Luminary regarded her with those unsettling silver eyes. "That, Captain, remains to be seen. Your defense of the Tau-Cedians suggests empathy. Your technological advancement suggests innovation. Your restraint in this confrontation suggests wisdom. But the test is not complete." With those cryptic words, the transmission ended. The Luminary vessel remained in position. A silent observer to the tense standoff, Fleet Marshal Thora appeared on screen again. Her composure regained. "Captain Winters, it seems we have both attracted the attention of powers beyond our understanding. Propose a temporary cessation of hostilities while we consider the implications of the Luminaris' presence." Winters nodded in agreement. I accept your proposal, Fleet Marshal. On one condition, the sovereignty of the Tau Cetians must be acknowledged and respected. Thora hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Very well, Captain. We will withdraw our military presence to the outer system and open diplomatic channels with the Tau Cetians. This is not over between our peoples, no. Winters agreed. It is only beginning. 3 months after the Tau Ceti incident, Captain Winters found herself in an unprecedented position, standing before the newly formed Interstellar Council on the neutral space station, Harmony Point. The massive station orbited an uninhabited world. At the intersection of human Zeltarian and Tau Cetian space representatives from all 3 species gathered in the central chamber, with the Luminari observing from a special section, their crystalline forms shimmering in the artificial light. Admiral Hayes nodded to Winters as she took her position. Today, we make history, Captain, she said softly. 6 months ago, the Zeltarians barely acknowledged our existence. Now we sit at the same table as equals. Winters smiled wryly. Amazing what a little advanced technology can accomplish. The formal proceedings began with High Chancellor Vila. Addressing the assembly, the Zeltarian Empire recognizes the sovereignty of Earth and Tau Ceti. We propose a treaty of mutual cooperation and scientific exchange between our peoples. The Tau Cetian representative Kira, now officially recognized as ambassador, stepped forward. We accept this proposal with the understanding that all parties acknowledge territorial boundaries and sovereign rights. Admiral Hayes spoke for Earth-Earth Alliance concurs. We seek peaceful cooperation while maintaining our independence and right to self-determination. As the diplomats continued their formal statements, Captain Winters received a discreet message on her personal device. Commander Kelly requested her presence in a private chamber adjacent to the main hall. Winters slipped away, finding Kelly waiting with Lieutenant Commander Foster. The science officer looked uncharacteristically anxious. What's wrong? Winters asked. Immediately, Foster glanced around, ensuring their privacy. Captain, the Luminary have requested a private meeting with you alone. Kelly explained. They were very specific. Winters raised an eyebrow. Any idea what they want? Foster shook her head, but her expression remained troubled. Captain, I've been analyzing the Luminary vessel. Their technology. It's not just advanced, I've never seen anything like it. The power readings are off the charts. And there's something else, something strange about their biology. How strange? Winters pressed. They don't register as fully corporeal on our scans, Foster admitted. It sounds crazy, but it's almost as if they're partially existing in another dimension. Kelly frowned. You're saying they're what? Interdimensional beings. Saying I don't know what they are, Foster replied. But they're far beyond anything we've encountered, possibly beyond the Zeltarians' comprehension as well. Winters considered this information. Should I refuse the meeting? Foster shook her head. That would be unwise, Captain. Whatever they are, whatever they want, it's clear. They hold significant power in this region of space. Kelly nodded in agreement. But be careful, Olivia. We still don't know what game they're playing. The private meeting chamber was bathed in soft blue light when Winters entered. The Luminary representative waited, a tall, elegant being whose form seemed to shift slightly at the edges, as if not fully committed to three-dimensional space. Captain Olivia Winters, the Luminary began, its voice resonating in her mind rather than her ears. You have questions? Winters maintained her composure, despite the unusual method of communication. Yes, beginning with who you really are and what you want with humanity. The being made a gesture that might have been appreciation. You are direct. That is good. The Luminary are guardians of a sort. We watch, we evaluate, we guide when necessary. Guardians of what order? Balance, progress. The being replied. The galaxy is vast, Captain, filled with species, at various stages of development. Some achieve faster than light travel only to destroy themselves or others. Some, like the Zeltarians, expand too quickly, consuming resources and subjugating worlds. Some evolve beyond physical form entirely. And humans, Winters asked, where do we fit in this spectrum? The luminary regarded her with those unsettling silver eyes. Your species is unique. Captain Winters, you advance rapidly, adapting, integrating new concepts with remarkable speed. The leap from your first spaceflight to the Valiant was mere centuries a blink in cosmic time. Yet you show capacity for empathy cooperation. You defended the Tau Cedians when you could have ignored their plight. Winters listened carefully, trying to understand these tests. You've mentioned, what are you testing us for? Evolution or extinction? The luminary stated simply, species that achieve interstellar travel reach a critical juncture. They either evolve toward greater harmony with the cosmos, or they become a threat to all life, including themselves. We help guide them toward the former and contain the latter. Contain. Winters repeated the word carefully. How exactly? The luminary made a dismissive gesture. That is not your concern. The Zeltarians were once close to containment. Their aggression, their expansion threatening dozens of developing worlds. They have begun to change partly due to your influence. The balance shifts. Winters processed this information. Why tell me this? Why not speak to Admiral Hayes? Or the Earth Alliance government? The being moved closer, its form rippling like water. Because you, Captain Olivia Winters, will soon face a choice. A test of your own. The outcome will influence our assessment of humanity. What choice? Winters asked. What test? The luminary did not answer directly. Instead it said, the Zeltarians still harbor resentment. Their pride is wounded. They will test your resolve again soon. Remember, Captain Winters, power without wisdom leads to destruction. Advancement without compassion leads to isolation. The true measure of a species is not its technology, but its choices. Before Winters could ask more questions, the luminary faded from view, leaving her alone in the chamber. 1 week later, as the Defiant patrolled the new neutral zone, Captain Winters received urgent orders from Earth Command. A Zeltarian research vessel had sent a distress call from deep space claiming catastrophic engine failure. Their position was dangerously close to a stellar remnant, a neutron star whose radiation and gravity threatened to destroy the ship and its crew of 300. Commander Kelly studied the mission parameters. This could be a trap, Captain. The Zeltarians know our patrol route. Lieutenant Wilson agreed. Tactical analysis suggests high risk. Sending our most advanced vessel into an unstable stellar environment, Winters considered their concerns. Remembering the luminary's cryptic warning, power without wisdom leads to destruction. Advancement without compassion leads to isolation. What would you have me do? She asked her officers. Ignore their distress call. Let 300 Zeltarians die, because we fear a trap. Foster spoke up softly. The choice seems obvious when you put it that way. Captain Winters nodded. Set course for the Zeltarian vessel, maximum speed, she ordered, and alert medical to prepare for possible radiation casualties as the Defiant raced toward the stranded vessel. Lieutenant Carter reported from communications, Captain M receiving a transmission. Not from the Zeltarians, it's the view screen activated, showing the now familiar form of the luminary. Choose wisely. Captain Winters, the being said simply before vanishing again. The bridge crew exchanged glances. The test, Winters murmured, understanding. At last, Commander Kelly, prepare rescue teams were saving that ship. The Defiant arrived, finding the Zeltarian vessel in genuine distress. Its engines failed, its radiation shields failing, as it drifted toward the neutron star. Through incredible risk and technical ingenuity, the human crew managed to establish a tractor beam stabilizing the damaged ship long enough to evacuate its crew fleet. Marshal Thora herself was among those rescued. Her eyes met Winters as she was brought aboard. You came, she said simply. Despite our history, Winters nodded. We did. We would not have done the same. The Zeltarian admitted. I know, Winters replied. That difference matters. Later, as the Defiant departed the system with its Zeltarian passengers safe aboard, the massive luminary vessel appeared one final time. The luminary representative appeared on the bridge, its silver eyes seeming to look through Winters rather than at her. The test is complete, Captain Winters. Humanity has demonstrated the wisdom to match, its power the compassion to balance its advancement. You may proceed. Proceed where Winters asked into the galaxy. Captain, the luminary, replied. The stars await a species worthy of them. As the luminary vessel vanished, Foster looked up from her station. Captain. Something extraordinary is happening. The star charts are being updated automatically. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Spatial coordinates, stellar phenomena, wormhole locations. Winters watched in amazement as the galaxy opened before them. The luminary had given humanity a gift far greater than technology. The path forward. The true test was never about our ships or our weapons. Winters realized. It was about who we choose to be. Fleet Marshal. Thora approached the bridge, having been granted. Limited access, I do not understand, she admitted. Why would they grant such knowledge to humans and not to us? We who have explored space for millennia, Winters, considered the question carefully. Because Admiral exploration is not about conquering. It's about connecting. We saved your people today not because it benefited us, but because it was right. That choice, that value, is what the luminary were testing. All along. Thora was silent for a long moment. The Zeltarian Empire has much to learn, it seems, as does Earth, Winters replied. But perhaps we can learn together.